How
Okay,
many do
guys,
Hey, how many do we need for a quorum?
We've got enough.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And we'll have the first item on the agenda is to have the approval of the April 12th meeting. Is there any discussion? No discussion, motion to approve,
I make a motion.
moved,
Second.
seconded. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Chris is here. Our new business is, the first item on the agenda is the winter rates that we discussed at our last meeting. John's printed up comparison,
Current and the new proposed.
proposed.
Nice.
And,
Nice
So-
job.
yeah. So is there any discussion about the proposed rates?
Could you, John, like we talked about, could you show what the sunbeam's going to on that and just put the date when, if we do make it, if we do pass it, put the date what on the rate sheet when we pass it, so we look back again, we'll know.
Yeah, I did. That's why I labeled that one 2022, but if it gets approved, I'll date it for when it gets approved.
Thank you.
And you had asked some questions about electricity, cost and what we make. Just for some information, this is for a fiscal year, July 1st of 2020 to June 30th of 21. We used $49,723 worth of electricity. That includes all three buildings, the marina, the parking lots, all the lights and everything down here. We pulled in 62,808. So, we had a profit of over 13,000 above and beyond what we spent for electricity. Just for some help with that.
Do,
I
do,
think
is,
the increase on the electricity of $25 a month and the current summer rates will be in good shape.
I have one question about that, and that's that I don't know, what kind of rate you guys get, but I know like my home rate is going through the roof, right? Like, the rates have just gone astronomically high for electricity. So is that the case for the town too, or they have a totally different service?
Well, we're different because we're commercial and we generally ride in the medium business range.
Yeah,
So the rates are less because we use a lot more.
yeah. What I really meant is the fluctuation of rate. Do you think it's going to jump a bunch?
Oh, it has adjusted some, but we're still going to be well within a profit margin.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're paying for everything we're using, plus, then some that we can put away in our
Sure.
CIP to keep everything up and going.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay,
But
Thank you.
that about covers everything unless somebody has any other questions about the new proposed rates.
Will you just verbalize what the sunbeam's going to, so I can write it on the sheet and bring it part of the motion?
Well, the Sunbeam is currently charged at $385 a month. They would be a new rate of $410.
plus
And their
electricity.
power is gonna be what's their power gonna be?
The power would be the same as it'd be 175, just like everybody else.
We make a motion, we accept these changes as presented by the harbor master.
For
Oh.
the 2022-23 winter season.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded that we adopt the rates as shown on the sheet, including the sunbeam. Is there any other discussion?
Just want to say John did a great job presenting that. That's good.
Yeah. Thank you, John. It was really easy to read and compare the two. So I appreciate it as well.
You're welcome.
Okay, all in favor, say aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
And John, thank you very much for making sure we have a little extra in the electrical for years like this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So everybody knows that the town meeting adopted our proposed budget for the ramp replacement. And I just had a real visual impact today at looking at that north ramp access. It's really bad. And I guess, John, can you fill us in on our scheduling for the work?
Yep, Greg has sent out the paperwork to get everything signed and finalized with contract. The work is scheduled to start on or after October 1st. We're getting ready to go out to bid on 2 60-foot replacement ramps. It will be a select bid of 4 or 5 contractors in the area that have the ability to build a 60-foot aluminum ramp. That'll be a separate from our contract through RF Jordan. We were within a year or two of replacing those 2 ramps through our CIP anyways, so we already had money set aside to do those. So that'll be covered through that. I don't know if anyone has any other questions about it.
I have about the ramps, John. Down at the co-op on Alsford, they have a ramp that has an open grating. It's so it doesn't gather snow. There's no tar paper or plywood that you have to deal with. And it's quite rugged.
How long have they had them?
They've had that, I probably 10 years or more.
And the grading and the traction holds up well?
Yeah. I mean, it's all I can, if you get a chance, you ought to go down and take a look at it, because it would just save a tremendous amount of hassle, especially in the winter when you're putting those ball bearings down.
Yep. No, I've been hoping for some options when I put them out to bid through the different companies.
Yeah,
And I was trying and hoping that we could get away from the current situation that we have.
yeah. I'll be down there tomorrow. I'll take a picture of it if I remember tomorrow and send it to you. But
Sure.
It's pretty rugged.
Yep,
Sounds like it would be
No.
a great improvement.
it would, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, they won't be able to slide their bait trays down there, but that's.
No, the new, there's still gonna be slides on the side of these ramps, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just will have to pick them up.
or use the hoist.
Yeah, no, but that's a good idea.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work, tar paper in those every year,
yeah,
or twice a year sometimes.
yeah.
Everyone might be curious about the mooring situation, but John can again fill us in on the cove down at the Northeast Harbor Fleet, the status of that. So
Yep, I'm still waiting on the moorings to be put into service to inspect them and make my final decision.
these are the 4 moorings. This is not an expansion.
Yep, the 4 moorings that I approved on a trial basis last year.
Can we talk about that at all?
We shouldn't.
We shouldn't talk about it until it there's an appeal.
Yep. I haven't
were-
made a decision yet, so there's nothing to,
Weren't
to-
we advised by the town attorney that we shouldn't?
that's right, that's
That's
why
right.
we're not going to, but
I'm not talking about the expansion. I'm talking about the 4 moorings and put it in a little box And I previously had mentioned before this about how the box didn't fit the coastline. That's when the concerns
Yeah.
were brought up when we first
Yeah.
discussed it.
No, we're not, we don't need to talk, the 4 moorings are what we're not to talk about right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna make my decision on in the coming weeks, and then we'll see what happens after that.
All right.
Okay. Now, I'm slightly entertained sitting here. John has a new toy on his desk. And I think he should show us what it is. It's an automated traffic ticketer.
Yep, so it comes with a nice new cell phone. And it's plugged into the wall right now charging, and here's the automated printer that goes with it. That is for the parking enforcement, so we can start writing tickets as soon as it goes live here sometime this month. Waiting on it. They're finishing up the program to link the parking permits that we're going to use this year through this unit. So when I go out, and if someone's there not supposed to be, I scan their license plate with that phone, and it'll automatically tell me whether they have a permit to be there or not.
Can you deputize the harbor committee to walk around with us?
Yeah, currently there's 3 of us that are set up to use it. Myself, Adam, and Jenya, the office manager.
So that would be just for the parking underneath the showers, right?
It's for all of our parking lots down here, the 1 hour parking, whatever I deem necessary within our purview down here, I can write a ticket for.
Oh,
Whether it be 1 hour parking or someone parking in the truck and soon to be truck and trailer parking. That I've ordered the letters to fix those signs, so they'll say truck and trailer parking, not just trailer. I picked up a few brand new 1 hour parking signs today to freshen up the that on the bulkhead. And everything else will have to be, just done manually through.
Question. So how do you mark it with chalk to know that the vehicle hasn't been moved? And is that like, how do you know someone's been there over the time limit?
You can do it through either chalking, or I could look at our cameras if I wanted to.
Okay, so
Actually,
yep.
Donna, I asked about this. I asked the parking man about this, the fellow who was using it in, what is it? Grant Park. Like I was over at Grant Park. So I asked him, and he showed me that there's actually a feature on there that's called a virtual chalk. And what you do is you take a picture of the wheel, and it shows where the stem is on the wheel. And then you can refer back to that later if you wanted to.
Yeah,
So
so
that is
3
an option that's available.
3 good ways to do that. I was just curious because I knew there had to be something. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what it is.
Thank you.
It's very robust, and it takes just less than 2 minutes to write a ticket.
And an enforceable ticket.
Yes, an enforceable ticket that there's a company that will get the money out of them.
how much do we get out of it? I mean, what's their
The
percentage?
marina, we're not going to get any money ourselves out of it, but the money will go back into the town, but it has to be used for certain things, for road maintenance or
Yeah.
for more signs. It's very
Specific.
constraint on what it can be used for.
No, I was just curious what the company's percentage was, but it's no big deal. I mean, it's no.
They get so much per ticket. I'm not
Yeah.
sure exactly what it is, but
John, I have a leading question for you, and it's just for my own knowledge for later in case it ever comes up. Could that money be used to buy a kiosk to to create a parking payment system?
I think it probably could. I think that may be where they have gotten the money for the kiosks that they're gonna put up at the police department for those spots.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, it's just something, I have no idea if that's where we're going. I just want to know if it's an option. Okay, thanks.
So if
John,
someone
in the-
parks, if someone gets a permit Monday afternoon and they stay overnight, at what point Tuesday do you start checking on them again? And if they're there Tuesday night, I mean, I think it's gonna get gnarly.
So in my opinion, the parking permit will be for a 24-hour period.
Okay,
So if they bought a ticket Monday afternoon for Monday night, they would not have a parking permit for Tuesday night.
so Tuesday night, they might get a second ticket. I
They-
mean, a first ticket.
Right.
That would, yes, that would be the first opportunity.
But it's good for 24 hours.
But we
Right.
don't check parking during the day except for the 1 hour parking and the slip renters lot. So during the day, it's a free for all.
Right.
Now, I read in the draft of the ordinances voted Howie had sent to us through that it did say that the harbor master could issue a permit for the main pier lot, which we are trying to avoid for overnight. Is there any way you could talk to Dave Kearns about that? Is there any way we could put it in the system where that's what we, discussed and voted on before?
Yeah, I think we can, and I just won't issue permits for that lot.
But
Right.
I just think the whole thing of making the ordinance, we had to go through this so it's enforceable with the system. I just want to make sure we're covered down the road on that basis. If forward, we have to make an amendment to that document, so that can be issued a ticket. They can't, fight that.
Yeah, put it in the something in the minutes to that effect, and I'll get with David, and it might take a while to get it removed where they just did an update on it, but we can have it happen in the next
Next round of that
Update.
happening. Yeah.
Yep.
yes.
Thank you, great.
And,
Okay.
and then 10th will be there all along. So,
And while we're talking about parking, David Kearns actually did call me the other day, and we spoke about motorcycle parking.
uh-huh.
Currently, there's no designated motorcycle parking. And for someone to take up a whole space for a motorcycle, may be a little much. Over in the slip owners lot, we have a very large loading zone. I think that I could carve out a small piece of that would, allow for parking for 5 or 6 motorcycles without interfering with that loading zone. Just wondering what your thoughts are on it.
Oh, I think you would annoy people if they weren't the private slip owners, if they were, parking we could carve out.
John,
something.
I would suggest that if it's not urgent, that maybe the parking subcommittee could look at it at our next meeting. Is it something you want to address sooner than, 2
It's
weeks from
something
now?
that me and David was hoping to carve out for this summer.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm kind of, just on my own thought, I'm kind of with Jim on that, that's like, a sacred place almost, in terms of like the boat owners kind of go there and that's their gig. And right now, I'm still of the opinion that there's 2 lots that are underutilized. The parking lot across the street from the farmer's market, we're calling it the long car lot. And the farmer's market when it's not a farmer's market,
Yep.
Um,
So I did speak with Ben today too, and they're gonna paint that white line to distinguish the edge of the road.
yeah,
But we're gonna hold off on painting slots for this year.
right. Yeah,
So
But
if you took 2 parking spaces, 2 plain old parking spaces, like in the truck lot or over by the tennis court somewhere, couldn't you get 4 or 5 motorcycles in those?
You could, but there's a handful of slip renters that have motorcycles or
I see.
scooters.
Oh, so you're trying, I thought you were trying to address general motorcycles. You're trying to
Yeah.
address,
And there's captains and a few of the people that come down to get on their small boats there that use that, and they're forced to park in a big spot, so they came because they didn't want to take up a big spot for, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And if
Well-
you designate certain spots, then you lose them for everyone else to use, as we found, so
Sure.
it's just trying to actually help make another spot, kind of.
All right. All right. I think my position's this, you know best, John.
Yeah,
And-
we're not gonna lose anything. That's a huge
Yeah.
area there for loading. And there's a big chunk of it that no one ever gets into for loading. And I
Yeah.
think I could easily carve out a spot that would allow for 5 or 6 motorcycles without
Well-
interfering with anything.
I,
I-
a lot- that's very smart, John, and I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I'm with you in terms of let's give it a try and see how it goes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
would that be open to the general public? So somebody a workman coming down to golf on the 7:30 boat, once he learns about it, could he use it?
Yes, there would be no permit for it. Granted, that lot's still gonna be labeled, so it may deter some people, but eventually they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And this isn't gonna be in any ordinance, this is like gonna be what we'll try it out, I mean, we can make adjustments, there's nothing finalized, right?
That's correct. We can try it out, and if it doesn't work, we can repaint it next
Yeah.
year back to yellow stripes
Yeah.
and
And we can comment, Howie, on our survey, when we do that lot, we can, in the comment section, if we notice it being abused with a lot of bikes left long-term, we'll note
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah, you're right. We can help monitor it and then just tell you what we see for sure, John. Let us know what kind of data you'd want out of that. And we can do that.
okay.
That's a good point, Chris.
I make a motion that we accept John's proposal to work with Officer Kearns to create motorcycle parking in that loading zone.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
Yes, speaking of that, oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, vote. I'm sorry.
Well, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right,
Could I bring up something about that lot? Is it
yeah, go ahead.
that? Can we put the boat trailers that seem to take up 2 lots out somewhere else? I don't see why boat trailers should sit in there. I mean, there are boat trailers. Why can't they go to the town garage or something like that?
Here we go, John. I think
He wants them handy.
I use one spot and I keep 2 trailers there, and they're there in case I need to grab a boat and run somewhere as quickly. If I have to run all the way to the highway garage or the sewer department to get a trailer to get back to get a boat and then go, I've lost 20 to 30 minutes. I think us having one spot over in that lot to keep a trailer for our work boat, and we keep the trailer for that little tiny boat of ours. I don't think it's a big problem, and
And
it's a safety thing, in my opinion.
I'd like to also echo that I think that during the survey there was always parking. It never went down to 0 in that lot. I don't know for sure, but as I recall, it wasn't a huge parking problem there. So
I think John should have that consideration. We've discussed this 2 or 3 times. And
yeah,
John always has a good explanation. I think it's really good explanation.
And there's been multiple times when I've had to grab that trailer to, even pull our launch boat out of the water for 5 minutes to cut rope out of the wheel.
yeah.
It's just, there's a lot of things that it's used for, and it'd be a shame to lose it.
I would I would just suggest, or maybe suggest, could you consider putting it in that long trailer parking lot? If they're, because I know that hardly gets any traffic.
Right.
Is that, or you don't want it there, John? If you don't want it there, just say so.
I think it would open up the signs that we're gonna change over there to say. truck
Oh,
and trailer
right. I
parking.
totally see what you're saying. They're like, why is there one trailer here that someone gets and no one else? I totally see what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
While we're talking about parking, when do we start surveying the parking again? Are we gonna that happen?
I don't, yeah, I don't want to mix business, you know what I mean? I don't know what we're on right now, but can we talk about that when I talk about the survey stuff?
Sure, I just was curious.
I think you can go ahead, Howie. I mean, we're basically on general issues right now.
So
Okay.
parking enforcement, in my mind, won't happen until after Memorial Day weekend. That's when I generally put out the barrel that signifies that that lot is specifically for permitted only.
I
Other
think
than
Donna was asking, when are we going to start up our survey again? Is that right, Donna?
Yeah, when are you gonna ask to
Yeah.
recruit?
Yeah, I was thinking about starting it up June 15th-ish again, the same time as last year. So June 15th through September 15th. Is
When now-
what I was thinking.
And you send around those sheets again?
Yeah. I'll set up everything all over again for this year. Yeah. If
Now
you're
that-
willing to help, that's awesome,
Yeah, now that John mentioned that he puts the sign out there, is it possible to extend it to that time so that we have a full idea of when the parking actually goes into enforcement instead of, when we finally got, ourselves.
Yeah, let's address that. I can address that at our next meeting when we want to start. That sounds like a good topic. So let's address that then and we'll figure that out. But it's a good point to bring up. So,
Yeah, just that since John just mentioned that that's when he
Sure.
starts to alert people, they
Yep.
might make sense to coincide.
That's
Yeah,
when
okay.
I'll start putting some paper warnings, giving people a heads up that it's coming. I
Seems
don't
like
anticipate writing any tickets right off the bat after, but it will,
Eventually it'll happen.
it'll happen.
Yeah.
So Howie, will we put motorcycles on that survey?
I'll put motorcycles on there. That's a good idea.
And it'd be nice to know if that someone's trying to sneak in and leave them overnight, we'll know that too. Because we'll see them. You know what I mean? If they're like,
Yeah.
aha, another avenue.
Yeah. I had some new business / old business stuff that I wanted to ask about.
Go ahead, Howie. So,
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
First, I wanted to say that when Dave Cairns proposed the changes of all the ordinances, someone, I don't remember who, brought up a really good point at the Seal Harbor Town Dock that I wanted to address here, because no one could really address it at the time then. And that's that there's, as you're driving down, heading towards the ramp or whatever you want to, the dock, over towards the right or I guess that would be the north end, there's two spots that you could park in, but they have yellow stripes on them. And I believe the yellow stripes were there because historically that's where the boats would pull up at like high tide and load their traps in and out or do business, whatever it is you guys do. And then, and what they were saying, the person was saying was, now that there's an electric hoist on the other side of the ramp, that's sort of irrelevant now. The fishermen don't need to use it, and that we could have 2 more parking spaces down there where parking's super tight.
They do still use it, and I think it is relevant.
Okay.
There's quite a few of them that use it. That is really handy for them to back a trailer down. They can
Yeah.
throw traps without a hoist.
Yeah,
But it does still is used, and I think it would be an uproar if we took it away from them.
okay, great, fair enough, good,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know, it
And
it
I
just sounded
did
like something,
discuss it with David Kearns, called me and asked about it.
okay, all right, great, yeah. And then I was just curious to follow up on the Seal Harbor dock, you know, like we were gonna build that extended dock.
It's
The
on.
T, we were gonna put a T on.
It's already there.
Awesome, though I drive by it, I don't inspect it.
And I actually have had one person thank me already by email, Dennis
Yeah,
Schubert.
yeah.
You could
So,
almost use another one, John. Is that 16 foot, that one?
it is.
It almost, there's room for another down the road. I'm not, you know what I mean? But yeah, and it looks great. You guys did a great job on it. Thank you.
Awesome,
Yep, and that didn't cost us much. That was scavenged out of parts that we've had from other floats we built, and me and Adam built that up at the highway garage, so.
all right, and then, my last thing that I wanted to talk about was the survey, you know, that we've been doing it and all that. So we've completed the survey and we've addressed all the issues that we want to identify. And now it's up to me to write a report. So I'm going to write a report in the next 2 weeks, I guess. It's my deadline. And I'll present it to our committee, our subcommittee, to make sure they're okay with it. Then I plan on presenting it to the entire harbor committee afterwards. And if you guys are accepting of it, then I was gonna make a presentation to the Board of Selectmen of an interim report, you know, what we're doing, what our approach is, and what our plan is for the future in regards to this.
You'll have this ready for the next meeting.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah, 'cause we do take a hiatus in July and August.
Okay. Then I will definitely have it ready for our next meeting, no matter what. Yes, thank you for that.
Howie, you're not getting paid enough.
It's okay. Double my, what do they say? Double my salary. That's all. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I think that was it. Oh, there's one thing that we talked about on the committee that we were going to bring up to these guys. And I just,
Domain name and the information.
sorry?
Was it the domain name you purchased and the information to provide?
No, I didn't care about that right now. No. It was something else we wanted to ask. I'm sorry, I just forget now. That's okay. Everyone else does too, apparently, so it's not just me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I'm
Howie.
okay.
Considering general issues or old business, is there any other issues anybody wants to bring up? Yeah, Jim.
I was just curious about is it the salmon truck parked over at Bartlett's Landing. I was over there the other weekend and seemed to be having a back to their permanent spot. I don't know whether they moved it that day or what, but I wonder if we were keeping an eye on that.
There's supposed to be no overnight parking over there without a permit, so the PD should be keeping an eye on it. I haven't had any complaints about it being there overnight, but I'm not there at night, haven't been for quite a while, so.
It's left there, John. Every time I go over times and early morning, there's been that. It's the same one that was there before that you got after and they moved it for a while.
I'll bring it up to the PD and they can maybe write them a ticket, and that might wake them up.
Is that a Black Island salmon truck?
I think it's the muscle outfit, actually.
Oh, is that the guy who lives in Soamesville? What's his name?
Swanson,
Yeah, Swanson.
I would assume it's Swanson's truck. The other one, they take the truck home with them every night, so.
Anything else? There was some mention at our last meeting whether we were gonna continue the Zoom meeting or meet virtually together and, or a combination. The way things,
I
COVID.
could-
things-
I could speak to that since cases are way up, hospitalizations are up, and deaths are up. And
Yeah.
it's actually worse now than it was when we last met. I would highly recommend to continue on Zoom for all of our health and welfare.
My opinion is that we have one more meeting left before our break for the summer. Let's continue with Zoom. And I'll assess it in the end of August for our September meeting, and we can go to a hybrid if things are looking right at that point, if that's all right with everybody.
Yeah, hopefully
Anybody
things
that
get better
wants
by
to
then.
continue to Zoom will still be able to Zoom, but if you want to come meet in person, we can.
Yeah,
Sounds
hopefully
good.
things will get better by then. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think everybody hopes that.
Everybody.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't think it requires any action on our part right now, so. Is there anything else? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Seconded,
Second.
all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
Hey,
John,
Rick,